alongside Jim Fox of Wadadley Financial Group. Kevin McAlpin here with you. Thanks as always for joining us. And of course, if you're looking to get the conversation started, get your future planned, visit them online at getfst.com. Jim, you're like me. You've got a couple of kids. I know yours are a little bit older than mine. I've got the 9 and a 4-year-old. And don't you always love when you get to this time of year, oh, you get an extra hour of sleep? Well, I don't know about you, but when my kids are little, there's no such thing as an extra hour of sleep when we change the clocks, is there?
Is there? Come on. Now, I'm on the other side of that coin. Now it's like my kids just want to sleep in all the time. So I get all the sleep. As a matter of fact, I'm up hours before the kids. So that day's coming, Kevin. So don't worry about it. It's coming.
Yeah. Well, my kids get up around 11 during summertime. But
do they really sleep that late?
Yeah, well, my 9-year-old, he can sleep in. The little one's up. She's knocking on the door. She's ready to go watch YouTube Kids or watch Netflix or whatever it might be. She knows how to work the remote better than my wife does. I'll put it that way.
That's just funny, man. Kids are just insane. Now my son will sleep till 1 or 2 o'clock, but this time change thing just kind of sucks. How do you feel about it anyway?
You know, I'm not a big fan. And the reason I will say this, I'm a fan of it in the mornings because I don't have to walk. But my kid's bus comes at 6:55. Jimmy's the first stop on the route. So it's completely dark outside. And I don't like driving home in the dark. So I'm kind of one of those guys that maybe it helps get me going a little bit. But I don't like when it gets dark at like 5:30. It's kind of depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I grew up fishing, so that was the big part of it. Is like it sucked because I'd have baseball practice after school. I couldn't fish in the evenings because it was too dark, right? Yeah. So it's funny. Everything as a kid growing up has come down to baseball and fishing for me, and that's the one thing about time change that I hated. Now as I got older, it became hunting and all the other stuff. But it's always around me time, I notice, and that getting dark at night too early bothers me. So.
My wife's always ready to climb into bed at like 7:30. I'm like, man, we haven't had dinner yet. It's dark out for 3 hours, but we haven't had dinner yet.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But, the one great thing about it is I'm a calendar guy, right? We talk about calendars all the time is you get these marks on a calendar and you can use them to identify other things. That's what's great about time change, right? Is it just becomes, hey, don't forget we're doing this. Like, and I think they were saying, what was it? Change the batteries in your smoke detectors, right? I mean, I don't know if you're that kind of guy, but me, the filters on the air conditioning thing, I actually pay a service that delivers filters to remind me to change my filters, if that tells you anything. So, yeah, it's crazy. But do you have any, do you do anything financially when it comes to time change? Like, is it a planning moment for you? Or are you more the first of the year? How do you typically do it?
Oh, I'm a scramble at the last minute kind of. And that's why I think working with you and listening to this show and as we do this together and get to know each other better, I'm learning that there's a lot of things I'm missing out on. Because, again, like you said, a couple of times a year, folks sort of use those as benchmarks to check things off their list. But I got to be honest with you, Jim. I'm probably like a lot of our listeners where I'm kind of that, oh my goodness, we're at the last moment. We gotta hurry up and wrap up a lot of loose ends here.
Yeah, and I mean, before you know it, it's tax season, right? So then you got to get your tax documents together. So let's just kind of throw some ideas, Kevin. Let's just kind of spitball this for just a second.
Sure.
It's some things that maybe you might want to consider. Now, for us in our office, it's really simple. I always say October, so Halloween to Thanksgiving. That's our magical time, right? And we say that is when we do our tax planning. We look back on the year to see if there's any decisions that we can make that will be tax efficient for you. And it also allows us to forecast, looking forward, any expenses you have moving into the next calendar year that maybe we might be able to reduce taxation by taking a little bit out this year and a little bit out next year, right? Reducing the amount of taxable income, right? So that's kind of how we operate in our office. But other people, they'll use this as a time to review their goals. Like, what is my goal for next year? This is the window in time where they say, okay, it's time to max out my IRAs, my Roth, or whatever it is. They also will look at it and say, you know what? Should we increase or decrease our contributions to our 401ks? Now, I don't personally like that one. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the best thing you can do for yourself, and I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers when I say this, but if you get a 3% or a 5% pay raise the first of the year, I really think that's when you should be increasing your contribution limits. Hey, look, you're getting a little bit more money. Take a little bit of a pain out of it. Just maybe a little pinch or here or there. So increase your contributions by an extra 1%. what's on our list next, Kevin? Wasn't it tax harvesting? Do you remember that from last week?
I do. We had that great conversation about that too.
Yeah, and I want to, and great, because you're setting yourself up. So let's see how well you remember it. How would you, Kevin, the baseball guy, right, who spent how many years? 12, 14 years in baseball?
So 13 in Atlanta, 21 overall, believe it or not.
So 21 years in baseball. So fair to say, tax harvesting is not a term ever used in baseball, right?
I've not heard that one, no.
How would you, in your own words, define or explain tax harvesting?
Well, that's why I'm coming to you, Jim, because it was a brand new term for me last week, and I'm going to fail this test because
give me your best shot at it. I'm just curious, and there's no wrong answers here. This is a real show, right? We want people to understand we're the real deal. So how would you try to explain tax harvesting? What would you say? I
would say it's almost like trying to cut your losses in a way, isn't it?
Beautiful. Yeah. So you're like, hey, I'm kind of stuck with this stock or this account that's been a real dog to me. And you know what? I really don't want to have it anymore. I don't think it's going to go up. So I'm going to sell it so I can take a loss. And when you take that loss, you're able to offset a gain you have on the other side, right? So it's a plus and minus thing, right? So it's really an interesting strategy. Now, with that being said, again, I'm not a huge fan of tax loss harvesting if you don't really have a good financial plan, but it's a great time to consider that. And last but not least is giving to charities. For one thing, I always tell people, really, really, really consider when you're giving to a charity that you're doing because it's from the heart. I truly believe that. I'll also give you some Uncle Jimmy advice here real quick because I think it's really important. I am fortunate enough and blessed enough to have had the honor to wear the uniform of the United States Marine. I've helped launch a few 501c3 charities for the Marine Corps, and I will tell you, be very careful who you donate money to because a lot of those charities, a lot of that money goes straight to administrative costs and new cars and all this other stuff. So always check what's called the 990. That's what you're looking for. It's called the 990. It says how much of the money you donate, each person donates, goes to the charity. And if it's say, 60, 70, 80% goes to the people that need it, I think that's a pretty good charity. We're very fortunate. Our charity is around 85%. So we really want all those dollars going back to the Marines themselves. But just be very careful. And if you're going to donate to a charity, this is a great time of the year to do it. We talked about Toys for Tots. I love the angels at the malls. I think those are such great things because, you're actually getting something that a kid asked for, right? Really cool stuff. But this is just a great time of the year for you to reflect back on what has happened in the past and of the year, for you financially, and then allow you to kind of forecast and move forward. That's why we say that this is our magical time of the year, that October, so Halloween to Thanksgiving is the time of year that we sit down as an office, not only with our clients, but ourselves, right? We were talking about this earlier, Kevin, before we started recording, was that this is our planning time. Like we're planning for 2025 ourselves right now. Take advantage of this. And if you are doing this on your own, I'm telling you, you're missing things. I just know it. And the problem is a lot of you guys have relationships with other financial weenies just like me, and you're not doing this with them. Guys, you got to ask yourself, why? Why are you doing that? You want to have a relationship where you have a coach, you have a team, you have someone who's working with you, helping you make those right decisions because this really is a team effort. It really is, Kevin. You're going to learn so much about finances, but we're going to learn a lot from you as well, right? So this is a team effort that we go through, and I can't stress this enough. If you don't have that relationship with your advisor, if you don't have that getting to know somebody and working with them, I don't know what to tell you, but I need that. I need that in my own personal life, and I needed that when I was a young guy trying to make sense of how to make my money work. I needed someone to go to. I'm not a huge golf guy, but I know that Tiger Woods was a pretty good golfer, right? Mm-hmm. But guess what? He had a coach that taught him how to hit a ball. His name was Butch Harmon, I believe, right?
Yep.
If Tiger Woods at his peak needed a coach to teach him how to hit a ball, maybe you and I might need a coach to help us make better financial decisions. And that's what I encourage you to do. Pick up that phone, give us a call. We're here to help you make better decisions. It doesn't have to be just a certain time of the year. It can be any time. But why not this time right now be the time that you start making moves towards having a more solid financial plan? That's what we're offering for you.
The days are long. The years are short. I can certainly attest to that now as my two kids are getting growing up quicker than I can imagine. I know a lot of our listeners feel the same way. So again, if you want that solid plan when it comes to your future, your retirement, you can visit their website at getfst.com. Jim Fox, we got about a minute left in the show. And of course, as always, the floor is all yours, my friend.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kevin Mack. First off, we got to remind you guys, Toys for Tots, make sure, give us a call, drop that stuff off, drive Pam crazy. Let's help these kids that are not going to get that much for Christmas, guys. Let's get through the door. Let's load them up. Let's make this the biggest year for Toys for Tots ever. We're going to be the drop-off point. Pick up the phone, call us. We have until December 16th. So please, please, please get out there, make that stuff happen. But I want to say thank you on behalf of myself and Mr. Kevin Mack. We understand you guys have lots of options when it comes to getting financial information, and we're just honored to be one of those resources. So if there's anything we can do for you, pick up that phone, give us a call, shoot us an email, send us a smoke signal. I don't care what you do. Get that question to us. We're here to answer that question on air. We're here to help you out. But on behalf of myself and Mr. Kevin Mack himself, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Financial Straight Talk.